Ladies, gentlemen, and various other organisms of indeterminate gender or species, it is with unbridled pleasure that I welcome you to the desk of the Space Crickets, here deep in the bowels of tormented space. You come to me, Commander Snap Centino, highest-ranking official of the Space Crickets, and the only member of said team that is not, in fact, a space cricket. They're weird like that. Now you're probably wondering why you have come here. Well, today, I, the commander of the Space Crickets, will be reading fairy tales. Today we are reading from the Everything Fairy Tales book by the Adams Media Corporation, apparently. Anyway, today's selection, by popular demand, Hansel and Gretel. Sit back and enjoy. Hansel and Gretel. Hansel. Once upon a time, there were a little boy and a little girl who lived deep in the forest with their father, a poor woodcutter, and their cruel stepmother. The little girl was called Gretel, and the boy was named Hansel. Hansel. One year, a severe winter settled upon the land, and seemed to go on without mercy. So it came that the family found itself without enough food to eat. The wicked stepmother told the father that he must take the two children into the forest and leave them behind. "How can I do that to my poor children?" cried the woodcutter. "You must," argued the stepmother. "If you do not, we will all starve." Hansel and Gretel were not asleep. When they overheard this conversation, Gretel began to cry. How pathetic. "Don't worry," Hansel said. "I will find a way to keep us from harm." Idiotic small boy thinks he can do anything. Oh my. The moon shone brightly that night, and Hansel crept downstairs and went outside to collect a pocketful of pebbles that shone brilliantly like the moon. These were diamonds. Hansel was very stupid. When morning came, the cruel and wicked stepmother woke the children and gave them each a piece of dry, hard toast for dinner. Poor resource management. She would not make it as a commander. Then their father took them into the forest. There he explained to them that they must remain in the dark woods because there was not enough food at home to feed them. He kissed them and cried as he said goodbye. This is different from other versions, where the father has something approaching humanity and lies to his children. Then again, this book is very, very simple. I'm sorry, we don't have very many resources of human relics. What am I apologizing for? Honestly, humans are trash. Oh, you think I'm human? Oh, you just wait a few centuries. Hope the audio's coming through okay, by the way. I have no idea, and I'm rubbish at editing, so this is all one take. If I were any good at editing, I would edit that out. But instead, you get me, candid. Bet it sucks. Anyway, as soon as he was gone, Hansel told Gretel about his plan. He had dropped pebbles from out of his pocket as they walked into the woods with their father. When the moon rose that night, Hansel took his little by the hand and they carefully followed the pebbles, which shone like moonbeams. They neglected to pick up the pebbles. thus proving once again that Hansel is an idiot. Just as the sun was rising, they arrived back at their father's home. When their stepmother saw them, she said, "You horrid creatures! We thought you were never coming back!" Their father cried with joy to see them, despite the fact that this meant he would only die quicker. The stepmother was so angry about their return that she plotted their demise once again. One evening, Hansel and Gretel heard their stepmother order their father to leave the children in the forest. That evening, Hansel crept downstairs to collect more pebbles, but found that his stepmother had locked the door to the house. They were obviously lacking in windows. Also, the stepmother was totally hoarding all of the diamonds for herself, because, in this time of scarcity, she was actually smart. A bit of a jerk, yes, but very smart. Lots of diamonds for the stepmother. Hansel was resourceful and came up with another plan. Oh my. Oh man, you should hear the legends about this guy in modern day. Oh my gosh, what an idiot. Cannibal too. Weird. Humans are disturbing. Yeah. When morning arrived, the wicked stepmother woke the children and gave them each a meagre piece of dry toast for dinner. Obviously, she was hoarding all the good food for herself because of poor resource management. Seriously, time of scarcity. Why are you giving the kids anything? Give them rocks! They're kids, they'll probably swallow the pebbles. They're like Kronos. I retract my former statement. The stepmother's stupid too. Everyone here is stupid. They went with their father into the forest. Along the way, Hansel broke off pieces of bread and dropped the crumbs on the ground to make a trail leading back to their home. Once again, the father kissed the children and said goodbye. In a logical situation, Hansel's hunger would have overcome him, and despite his best efforts, he would have eaten all of the bread for himself, perhaps leaving one crumb for Gretel. Dumb. Neglecting basic survival instincts now. Or maybe he hates his father, but lacks the physical strength to outright kill him. Ideas. It's a shame I'm sending this back in time to when humans thought they were important. Maybe this could have enormous effects on the space-time continuum. Maybe I'll suddenly change shirts. If I were any good at editing. Oh my, the things you sacrifice to be good at bookkeeping. And book reading, incidentally. That night, Hansel took his little sister by the hand, and they looked for the white breadcrumbs that he had dropped. You know, in my experience, dry bread is very rarely white. But they found no bread because the creatures of the forest had eaten them all, and had not yet found and killed Hansel and Gretel. Why would you not move to a place with carnivores in it? Easy to kill the children. Hansel, though, felt confident he could find his way out of the forest, even without the breadcrumbs to guide their way. See what I'm saying here? Idiot. Oh my. Instead of leading his sister out of the woods, though, Hansel mistakenly led her deeper into the forest. Who's surprised? They were very lost and extremely hungry and about to give up all hope, which they should have, when just ahead in a clearing they saw the strangest little house. It had walls of sweet gingerbread and a roof of frosted cake. The utility bills you would not believe. Heck, the entire scarcity in this story is entirely due to the witch just trying to keep her house in working condition. Magic was expensive back then, man. Seriously. Expensive stuff. Costs a mint now. The windows were made of clear sugar, and the sidewalk of chocolate. This was back when houses had their own sidewalks, instead of when sidewalks were a municipal concern. Heard a man got shot for sweeping the sidewalk. I'm lying, of course. I'm going to eat it all, Hansel said. I'm going to eat it all. There we see those survival instincts that he was so lacking in. Why doesn't the father have some sort of weapon? They both ran to the house and began breaking off pieces, for by now they were very, very hungry. Then a soft voice from inside said, "Nibble, nibble, those who roam, who is nibbling on my home?" The only version I've read where there's rhyming. The children answered, only the air, blowing here and blowing there." Now, oddly enough, I'm pretty sure this is one of the few fairy tales where the wind is not alive. In which case, don't tell her that it's the wind. Wind does not have voice. Also, wind does not sound like two chorusing children. Idiot children. And they went on eating. Suddenly the door opened, and a woman as old as any they'd ever seen hobbled out. Now, of course, they had only seen the wicked stepmother, and she was only in her 30s. So in fact, this witch was actually quite young, and fairly approachable, in a social context. I mean, she had some skin problems, and severe diabetes that would go, sadly, undiagnosed in that time period, but approachable, certainly. Benefits of a time machine, people. You should prioritize. Hansel and Gretel were terribly frightened, for they had been raised to be xenophobic. Look the word up. I am not going to bother enlightening humans. But the old woman smiled and said sweetly, "Do come in and stay with me. Despite being xenophobes, they are also still idiots." So she led them inside and fed them pancakes and apples and sugar and nuts and cookies and cakes and puddings.